there is always already a presence of something. That presence of something is always there whenever you feel lack, whenever you feel like there's not enough, whenever you feel like there is nothing. When you have nothing, there is a feeling that exists that you must experience in order for you to feel like you have nothing. That presence of feeling like you're nothing or that you have nothing is in itself something. So you can never be without something. There's always a presence of something, no matter if you're feeling like you have nothing in your physical reality, or you don't have enough information, or you don't have enough knowledge or energy. It's all based upon what you're saying to yourself. If you have an apple and you give it to somebody, and you say to yourself, now I'm lacking an apple, then you are telling yourself that you are without an apple. Just because you don't have an apple in your hand and you gave it away, it doesn't mean that you are lacking an apple unless you say it is. And because the apple does not speak to you and tell you, now you don't have an apple, now you don't have anything, you are telling yourself you don't have anything. Nothing in your environment is telling you with the verbal communication and language that you are without something. Actually, it is quite the opposite. It's showing you that there is much to be experienced, that there is much to see and touch, feel, sense, all those things. So even though you don't have something physically here and now, doesn't mean that you are lacking it. If you were to, right now, if you watching this video, you are lacking a fork in your hand, or you're lacking a laptop, or even something like your child or your brother or your sister, they're lacking from your experience right now. It doesn't mean that they don't exist, or they're not in another parallel or in the other room. It doesn't mean that they're lacking, but you're telling yourself that they're not, because they're not here in this room right now where you're at. You're basing the idea of not having it and repeatedly telling yourself that it isn't here, so I don't have it. Or because you expect for something to be here, you are tied up in the idea that you are lacking it. Just because you don't have a particular thing right now, it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist for you in another timeline, another parallel reality, in another future reality, another possibility, another potential. It's just, if you don't have it right now, it's not relevant for you, because just because you don't have a fork right now, or you don't have food right now while you're watching this video, it doesn't mean that you are without food, unless you tell yourself, oh, I'm without food, so I'm going to feel bad about that. Your environment's not telling you that. You are telling yourself that. So it's not relevant for you while watching this video to have a fork in your hand or have a meal right in front of you. It's not relevant for you at this current space-time, this continuum right now that you're on, which is always altering and shifting. So the things that we desire are those things that we tell ourselves, oh, I feel bad and I'm going to suffer because it's not here right now in front of me. And you base your own dialogue to yourself based on how it doesn't exist for you here and now. And it does exist somewhere, because there's a presence of feeling that. There's a feeling that you have when you envision and imagine this thing, when you envision and imagine this desire. There's a presence of it. It may not be physical right here and right now, but it is existent within a cellular dimension, within a cellular plane, within a timeline. That's, if you can perceive a timeline, if you can perceive and imagine something, it is attainable for you. It is on a timeline that is within a probability of you living it out. It is relevant for you if you are thinking about it. It can be. It can also be irrelevant, but it's your free will, it's your choice. So the desire that we are telling ourselves we are not worthy of because we don't have it. If I don't have this right here and right now, or in like month or 2 months from now, then I must not be worthy of it. And that is the worst way to base your reality on, because you are not considering that there is more dimensions, that there is more time, there is more possibilities, there is more. You think that the only thing you have right now is all there is right now. So the desire that we have towards attaining, acquiring, experiencing, that desire is telling us personally that that's going to bring us the highest joy, the highest pleasure, the highest excitement. And those things are perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with desiring things. If you are hung up on having that thing now and you are not going to be happy until that desire is met, then you are basing your pleasure and your excitement and your joy and your bliss off of something physical. And if you are basing your joy and bliss and happiness off of physicality, it will be subject to change, because physical reality is constantly changing. We have the seasons, we have weather, we have time and space. We have space, it's always constantly shifting, orbiting, shuffling around. So if we base our existence and our own lives more and more off physicality, we're going to continue to suffer, because what we desire and what we are excited and joyful and blissful about is ultimately going to be dependent upon what we feel and see external to us. It's going to be a reaction. It's going to be a reaction to the thing out there. So it's going to be highly subject to corruption. It's going to be highly subject to being taken away from you by others. So if you don't have any money in your bank account, and someone stole it from you, and someone stole the apple from you in your hand, and you say to yourself, now I'm lacking an apple, now I'm lacking money, I have no money. And you base that, you're telling yourself I have no money. It's because you're not actually thinking about another alternate timeline and possibility that you have money, that you have a solution. And if you can't think of that, that's fine. That's fine. I recommend just neutralizing and coming to peace, because peace is something that you have to experience before you experience joy and bliss. Like it's a neutralizer. It's something that it's a springboard for higher expanded consciousness and accelerated living. Peace it's neutral, and in itself is a dangerous thing, because we can be just, we could just be all right with peace. There's millions and billions of people that are out there suffering because they're complacent with their peace. They don't want to take that extra bit and live an extraordinary life of joy, bliss, happiness, and excitement, because they're fine with peace. And they're not actually living out their desire. Their desire to become a infinite expression of spontaneity, joyous excitement. And the peace is an ultimate in itself, and it's great. Don't get me wrong. There is more than the peace, though. There is more than just having a neutral standpoint and a neutral complacency about your life. There is higher dimensions, there is higher intelligence, there is higher experiences that you can experience that is beyond just being not caring what goes on. And that's great. But you can also care and not be attached. You can also care and not be affiliated with an outcome. And that's where excitement and joy comes in. It's more than just only having this place where you don't care. You're neutral. Don't care if it goes right, don't care if it goes wrong. There's actually a higher willpower when it comes to going into this dimension and realm of wanting to feel excited, joyful, blissful, loving, unconditional exuberance and delight. So the less we should really become less and less physically oriented, because the physical world is in itself limited in its scope and its dimension, and all the things that we feel are non-physical. They are metaphysical. So if you were to think about something that is not physical, then you would be thinking regularly, because thinking is not physical. So can you change a physical circumstance? can you change a physical circumstance. You can move something. You can, you know, become in relationship with somebody. You can touch somebody, right? And you can like drive somewhere and travel. However, that is not going to, that does not ultimately mean and does not indicate that there is a change internally. So I appreciate you guys watching, and thanks so much. I'll be seeing you guys on later videos. Take care.